Um, my name is Silke Stutzinski. I'm a lawyer for civil parties. I have only very few questions. I would like to know
The President, we cannot hear the translation. Could the court officer try to make sure we can hear it?
Thank you, Mr. President. My name is Silke Stutzinski. I'm lawyer for the civil parties, for the victims. I have only a few questions. When you stayed at night in the pit, did the corpse of the prisoners touch each other?
The witness, the detainees were shackled to the metal bar, and we were put close to one another.
You mentioned that you heard screaming of prisoners who were tortured. How often did you hear such screaming? Was it every day?
The witness, I only heard the screaming once. It was when I was walking walking past the place where people were tortured, and that was the only one time that I heard the screaming.
How far were you away from the interrogation and torture venues?
The witness, I was about 20 meters from that location, maybe 20 to 30 meters.
And do you know who was the interrogator at this moment? And who tortured?
The witness, I don't remember that person's name, and I did not really pay great attention to that scenes because when I heard the screaming, I just turned away because I did not pay great attention because I was scared of myself for being accused of an informer who wanted to know other people's business. Then I just turned away, so I just did not don't remember their name.
And now my last question: the execution scene that you have observed, these 5 prisoners were. The one in the middle was shot. Were these prisoners male prisoners, or were there also female prisoners among them?
The witness, those prisoners were all male, no female.
Okay, thank you very much.
The President, the floor is yours. Mr. Kong Pisai, thank you, Mr. President and Your Honors. I am Kong Pisai. I would like to ask a few questions to the witness. You said Lon was arrested with you along with another man. At that time, Lon was interrogated. And then you noticed that Lon's face was, there were bruises in Lon's face. So do you know, or did you know what happened to him, why he became like that? Response, I asked him, but he said he was kicked with a sandal made from car tires. Another question, say Mr. Pisai, you said there was another man who was arrested with you. Was he interrogated at that time? Could the witness, could you please repeat your question? I don't understand. Mr. Pisai, there were 3 people arrested along with you, Lon and you and Gul, says the witness. So was Gul also interrogated, says Mr. Pisai? Response, at the beginning they were put together, but later on they were divided, separated. I did not know whether he was also interrogated because I was very scared. I did not know whether I myself would die. And after a fortnight, that person died of starvation. Another man named Chen also died. But before he was arrested, his father paid a visit to 13. He lived in Swai Mui Dam village. He asked why his son was arrested. And then his father was also arrested. And then his father even died of starvation before his son. So before I was sent to Posad, I witnessed that event. Mr. Pisai, I would like to ask you another question concerning the detention. When you were detained in that pit along with other people, when you were shackled, were you allowed to dress? The response, of course, we only had the clothes we brought with us. So when we got soaked, then there would not be any clothes to change. We had to wait until our soaked, wet clothes dried out. And no one could bring any clothes to the M13 because they could not come, otherwise they would be also arrested. Thank you, says Mr. Pisai. Now the next question concerning the rest at night. Were you given mosquito net or light at night? Response, no, we did not have the mosquito. We did not even have the mat to sleep on. So there were some insects, but we had to sleep on them. Another question, say Mr. Pisai. When you and other prisoners, both at night and in the daytime, when you had to relieve yourselves, could you go to relieve yourselves, or you were asked to relieve yourself in the pit? The response, normally when we would want to relieve ourselves, then we would ask the guards, then they would hand in a bamboo pipe so that we could urinate in that bamboo, and then they could carry it away. And if we had to relieve ourselves in the toilet, then they would released us to walk to their toilet. In the pits, says the witness, people were untied at night, but sometimes the hammock cords. Excuse me, the interpreter regrets that we cannot really interpret when the lawyer and the witness simultaneously respond to one another. Could you please slow down? Could you please repeat? The interpreter would like to, for the record, would like to interpret that part again. Mr. Kongpisai, I may repeat the question. The President, could you please repeat your question because it was not yet in the record? Uncle Son, could you please repeat your question, your response, because it was not recorded yet. Witness, the detainees who needed to relieve themselves, ourselves, we would ask the guards, and they would then drop a bamboo pipe in the pit, and then we could relieve ourselves, and then after we urinated in that pipe, then we passed them to the guards, to people to take them away. And if we would like to visit the toilet, then they allowed us to go to the toilet. They only unshackle our ankles, but they still tied us on to the wrist. Thank you, say Mr. Pisay. After you visited after you relieved yourself, then the bamboo pipe was still left in the pits. Could you please clarify? The witness says, of course, I can clarify that the bamboo pipes were left in the pits. Mr. Kongpisay, so when the bamboo pipes left in the pits, were there any bad smell affecting the other detainees? Response, of course, the smell was not good, but what else could we do? So that bamboo pipes were designed for us to relieve ourselves in. So since they were in the pipes, in the bamboo pipes, so we had no problem with the pipe. So question regarding the relieving of yourself when people were shackled, how could they relieve themselves? While we just squat and then put the bamboo pipe under our back, and then the detainees who were close by could even assist us. Next question. If the question is not easy to...
What about the peat? When you peat, what happened to the peat? Because the bamboo tube was pretty big, there was probably 10, 20 detainees in one pit and not all pee at the same time. So only one or two prisoners pee and it would not fill up the bamboo tube. Another question, says the lawyer. You did not have much to eat, but when someone was thirsty, could that person ask for water? I did not see anyone ask for water, says the witness. Only in the morning or during the meal time. First, when we were detained, we were very thirsty because that was from my personal experience. When our hands were tied, when we were shackled, they tied our hands at two segments, and also they shackled our feet. And we were so thirsty, very, very thirsty at the time. The lawyer. So when you were thirsty, did you ask for water? Yes, I did, says the witness. They gave a glass of water to me, just a small glass. That's all. Even if we were so thirsty, that's all what they gave it to us. How big was the glass? It was like a 3 real wine glass. It was a short one, says the accused. It was the one which did not break if we drop it on the ground. Any other detainee who asked for it? Asked the lawyer. Yes, says the witness, yes. And did they receive it? Yes, says the witness. The guards gave it to them. Thank you. The President, the lawyer for Group 3, if you have any question for the witness.
Oui, Monsieur le Président, j'aurais une seule...
Your Honor, I have just one question, and very briefly so. Good afternoon, sir. I'm Philippe Canon, co-lawyer of Group 3 of the civil parties. Mr. Uchson, you talked about the pits that you dug. I would like to ask, and this is my question, whether once or several times detainees were brought into the pit or pits to protect them effectively from the bombings. Were the pits ever used for putting detainees in the pits and to protect them against the effects of the bombings?
The witness. The pits that house the detainees, the purpose was to protect them from the bombing or not, I was not sure, but I myself, I saw the pits were purposely built to hold the detainees. Probably Dutch. For Duch, they probably had their own pit in order to protect them from the bombing. Then the bombs would even collapse those pits. Those pits could not sustain the bombing.
Je vous remercie.
Thank you, Your Honor. I have no further question.
The President. Next, the lawyer for Group 4, if you have any question. Thank you, the President, Your Honors. The lawyer. I ask a question to the witness, Mr. Uchson. Actually, I have 4 questions. Could you clarify that at one time you saw Duch beating a woman and you said you heard him saying that was the name, the person belongs to the Monivong, the king's blood, and Duch would not beat or kill the king's family? I did not catch it. It means he only killed the enemy and not the king's members. Can you clarify on this particular point? The witness, I heard him saying that, asking, what is your name? What's your father's name? He asked, who are your parents? What is the name of your father? And the woman replied, she was dark complexion. She said, my father was Vung. And then Duch said, don't lie to me, you are the daughter of Mani Vung. I'm not sure if he was joking or not at the time. That's what I heard. Maybe he was joking with her or not. And he said, I don't kill the king's family, I only kill the enemy. And I did not stay there and continue listening to it. But when I walked past, that's what I heard. Thank you, says the lawyer. My second question to you. I think it is contradictory to the statement. Let me clarify. When you saw the killing of one person as arrested by other lawyers who were tied to a post together with other 4 detainees, you told the chamber that you knew the person who shot that detainee and the name was Chan. Is that correct? I know this person clearly. His name was Ta Chan, says the witness. Earlier, you said Chan, Mi, and Pond. That's the names you said. You knew them clearly. Yes, says the witness. So you are not confused? No, I'm not, says the witness. The president, may I be allowed to ask Duch? He said he assigned someone to kill. And I'm not sure if that person was the same person as stated by the witness. The president, the accused, you can respond to this question. The accused. I don't want to say about something that happens in details, but let me just confirm that the person who shot was not Camera Chan, it was another person. Thank you, says the lawyer. My third question to you, says the lawyer. You informed the chamber that the reason for the arrest is that you went to buy pigs, and at that time there was no religion. How did you know that that society was a society with no religion? The witness, I understood that it was a communist regime. That is my personal understanding. I did not go and tell everybody that there was no Buddhist religion, because I believe myself that in the communist regime there was no religion. And in the end it was correct. It means my understanding was correct. And after the victory, they demolished the pagodas, they made people not to believe in religion. So they did not allow to have any Buddhist religion exist. Thank you, says the lawyer. My last question to you. When you were released, you said you were sent to Posat. It means you were sent to the liberated zone or to a free zone? The witness, I was sent to the same liberated zone, not to the Lunnol zone. It was within the same liberated zone. Thank you. I have no more question. The president, next. I give the floor to the defense counsel so that you have the opportunity to pose questions to the witness. If you have any questions, the floor is yours. Mr. Kasavut. Thank you, Mr. President. I like to clarify with a witness. Can you state it clearly? This morning, the President asked you, as a witness, that at that time when you were detained there, did you see, because you said there were male, female, and children, and then the President asked how many children, as a witness, you informed the President that there were 30 children. But just then, when the co-prosecutor asked you how many children who went with their parents, you said there were 10 children. Can you confirm clearly whether there were 10 or 30 children? The witness. The children who were sent there were many of them. When the Udong area were defeated, there were many, and this is a very long story. The villagers were arrested, and there were probably 10 of them at a time. But if I describe about the fall of Udong, there were many children, and it's going to be a long story. Mr. Kasavut. Thank you, Mr. President. The Defense Council has no further question for this witness. The President, the floor is yours, Defense Council.
Your Honor, we might have some questions to ask because this witness may have a little bit of difficulty with figures, numbers. But apart from the numbers issue, we have no other questions, no other issues to raise.
The President, if you have any particular questions, please raise.
Merci, Monsieur le Président. Ça ira comme ça, merci.
Thank you, Your Honor. We can do without that questioning.
The President, the proceeding for today is coming to an end, and we don't have any time for the next witness, Mr. Sond. The chamber has no further questions for you, so you can return to your residence. Court officer, please facilitate him in coordination with the Visu to facilitate his return to his residence. The chamber declares the adjournment of today's hearing, and the chamber will resume on the 20th of April 2009 from 9 a.m. Security guards take the accused back to the detention and bring him back to the courtroom on the 20th of April before 9 a.m. Likewise, for all the parties and the public who wish to attend the hearing, please return before 9 a.m. on the 20th of April 2009. The lawyer, may I get your attention, Your Honor, if you have any detailed agenda? The President. The chamber will notify the detailed agenda tomorrow. This is the first week of the trial, so we had to recalculate the time and the rescheduling of the proceeding. And tomorrow morning we will provide you the notification of the detailed agenda.
Som Jane Krang Cho, please stand up.